They had partied and eaten together, hated the same enemies, and even fought side by side, taking out the same rivals. On the day Lil Jeff died, Q50 was right there behind him, chasing the enemies away. But this bond didn't end with life, it carried on even after death.
I go through that depression every single day, losing my best friend, my heart, my big brother, my everything.
Depression has also stuck around, and now Q50 has shared a glimpse of the last messages he and Lil Jeff exchanged before tragedy hit, and it's sending fear through the streets of Chicago. So what did the message say? And more importantly, will Q50 really seek revenge for his brother? Let's get into it. Lil Jeff's last message to Q50 before his death. Chicago rapper Q50 was one of Lil Jeff's closest people, and it's no surprise he's had a lot to say since Jeff's untimely death. The two weren't just cousins, they did everything together, making music, carrying out paid hits, and sliding on their enemies. Even though Q50 claims he wasn't there when Lil Jeff was killed, an old Instagram post recently resurfaced on Reddit, hinting that Q50 might have been on a mission for revenge, fueled by Lil Jeff's last message. The post shows a picture of Q50 and Lil Jeff posing together. In the photo, Q50 is covering his face with wads of cash, while Jeff is blowing smoke and throwing a gang sign. Q50 captioned it, "Folks, my big brother, my twin, my other half. Just like you said though, it wasn't gonna do nothing but make me worse. I'm done crying though. I'm just going to do what he told me to." Although Q50 doesn't say exactly what Jeff told him to do, fans on Reddit have made some strong guesses. One user wrote, "Do what you told me to sounds like he's about to torch somebody." Another said, "Q50 needs to handle that business." And a third warned, "He might end up dying the same way as Jeff, because he's definitely going to slide for him." While there's still some mystery around that post, another old post from Q50 paints a clearer picture. It was shared again on Reddit with the title, "Sad that Lil Jeff ain't here no more." That was Q50's real best friend. The post showed a screenshot of a conversation between Q50 and Lil Jeff, which Q50 had shared on his Instagram story right after Jeff's death. In the chat, Lil Jeff did most of the talking. He talked about how far they'd come and said, "That's how you know once we get the ball rolling, it's over with for everybody." He continued, "We're going to be rich and dangerous. OBD. Lil Jeff then pointed out how dangerous that was, but added, "And we're still going to be in the trenches, treating the ops like they're." Q50 shared the chat with the caption, "This was November 2022. We were finally doing it, bruh." Lil Jeff's message was clear. No matter how successful they got, they were still going to live by the street code, sliding on their enemies and keeping their reputation alive. Even as Jeff's fame was rising in the Chicago drill scene, he wasn't planning to leave the streets behind. Lil Jeff chose to stay in the trenches and ruled the streets with an iron fist while he was alive. The late rapper often bragged about having a double-digit body count and was on a mission to add to that number when he was killed on the night of June 8, 2024. Shortly after the incident, several clips and photos started circulating online showing what happened before and after Lil Jeff was shot. In one video shared on social media, Lil Jeff is seen chasing after a man wearing yellow shorts and firing shots at him, clear if the man was hit. But the video shows him running into a building, with Lil Jeff chasing close behind and still shooting. Just as Lil Jeff was about to storm into the building, someone inside fired multiple gunshots at him. Lil Jeff fell down the steps and onto the front porch. The first clip ends there, and because of the camera angle, you can't see who shot him. However, the police report later revealed that after Jeff fell, his killer came out of the building, stood over him, and emptied a magazine into Jeff at point-blank range. A second video posted online shows a different angle. It starts with multiple shots ringing out, likely from the killer standing over Jeff. In this footage, two of Lil Jeff's homies are seen, one dressed in all black, the other in pink, firing back at the building. At one point, the man in pink, who was believed to be Lil Jeff's cousin Q50, is seen shooting at a car driving through the area. Both men move toward the building while exchanging gunfire with Jeff's killer. After disappearing briefly from view, both men are seen retreating and Q50 appears to be limping, suggesting he might have been shot in the leg during the shootout. Before they completely flee the scene, the camera catches the getaway driver, taking one last look at Lil Jeff lying on the ground, then returning to the car and speeding away. According to police scanner recordings, the trio circled the block to make sure it was safe before coming back to grab Lil Jeff's body from the front porch and rushing him to the hospital. A photo later surfaced online showing two of Jeff's homies carrying his body. Many people thought the man in pink was Q50 because of how much he looked like him, but it didn't take long for Q50 to clear things up. In an interview on No Jumper, he said he wasn't anywhere near the scene when Lil Jeff was killed.
I wasn't even there, right? I wasn't even there. Stop saying I was done, man. I wasn't enough.
During the interview, Q50 also opened up about losing Lil Jeff and said he almost lost mind while grieving the death of his beloved cousin. He said,
I go through every single day. My dead grandma, my granddaddy ashes. I go through that depression every single day. Losing my best friend, my heart, my big brother, my everything. My dead mother Gary, I'm laying them down since June 8th. It ain't been a day. I woke up and I wasn't hurt behind losing my brother. I was about.
Even though Q50 kept saying he wasn't at the scene when Lil Jeff was killed, fans on Reddit didn't believe him. They pointed out that he was just trying to get off the feds' radar. One Reddit user commented, "Trying to get off the feds' radar." Another person noticed that Q50 showed up to Lil Jeff's funeral on crutches, hinting that he might have been shot during the shootout. They wrote, "Bro had crutches at Jeff's funeral, stop the cap." A third person said, "Feds already know he was there. They're just letting him get bigger as an artist before they come to collect." Several months after the shooting, the Chicago Police Department finally made their first arrest connected to Lil Jeff's murder. They arrested a man named Robert Coleman, also known as Trap City Rob. Fans had already suspected Rob just days after the shooting, after Reddit users found out that he owned the building where Lil Jeff was killed. An old video had surfaced online, showing Rob smoking weed right in front of that same house. At first, police charged Trap City Rob with Lil Jeff's murder, but they later dropped the murder charge and hit him with a different charge, unlawful possession of a handgun. This was because they couldn't gather enough solid evidence to prove he was the killer, even though an eyewitness placed him at the scene. Before getting arrested, Rob kept a low profile, but after he was taken into custody, he completely changed. He went from denying any involvement and calling for peace to openly mocking Lil Jeff alongside other Trap City members. He even released a diss track where he took brutal shots at Lil Jeff and the Bloodhounds. In the video, filmed in a dark studio, Rob rapped, "Don't fall, you better not trip. These enims talking about sliding. I just watched them slip. This is not a game. Better get a grip before we put your ass up in the sky just like a blimp." Rob's diss track came months after a video leaked showing Trap City members, including Rob, hitting the streets to celebrate Lil Jeff's death. In the clip, they can be seen debating whether or not to walk up to the porch where Jeff was killed. At one point, someone asks, "Why y'all don't want to go to the porch?" Moments later, the group heads over and mockingly recreates Lil Jeff's murder. This disrespect sparked even more outrage from Lil Jeff's Bloodhound crew, and only made the already bloody feud even worse, a war that has already claimed several lives over the past few years. But how did this deadly feud even begin? Trap City versus Drill City feud. For the past few years, the streets of Chicago have been home to one of the deadliest rivalries in the drill rap scene, the war between Drill City and Trap City. This bloody feud was largely led by the late Lil Jeff. A lot of people thought that Lil Jeff's death would finally put an end to the violence, but instead, it led to even more retaliations. And sadly, there's still no end in sight. Most of the victims in this feud have been young adults, and Lil Jeff's death at just 21 years old is a painful reminder of that. Before we dive deeper into the story behind this gang war, here's a quick breakdown of the two sides. Drill City Bloodhounds. Drill City, better known as the Bloodhounds, is a teenage street gang that operates mostly around 79th Street and Maryland Avenue in Chicago. They are infamous for their violent robberies, shootings, and bragging about these crimes in their music. Because of their wild reputation, they don't have many allies. They have serious beef with two major gangs, BKN and Trap City. Trap City is another dangerous gang based around 67th and Champlain, controlling the area from 67th to 69th Street, between St. Lawrence and Cottage Grove. They are a subset of the Gangster Disciples and are tightly allied with another group called CW Bass. Together, they've built a powerful force in the area over the last few years. Interestingly, the Bloodhound Alliance originally included Drill City, Trap City, and 400 East, but internal beef between Trap City and Drill City eventually caused Trap City to split off, breaking the Bloodhound Alliance, and that's when the violence between the two sides really exploded. On the streets, it's normal for alliances to form and break, but what's crazy about the beef between Drill City and Trap City is that it all started over a chain. Yeah, you heard that right, two gangs that used to be tight went to war over a piece of jewelry. Before all the drama, Bloodhounds and Trap City were so close that you could barely tell who belonged to which gang. There are even old photos online showing how cool they used to be with each other. One of those pictures popped up on Reddit in September 2024. It showed Bloodhound Lil Jeff, Bloodhound Q50, and Trap City Taro posing together before the beef started. Another photo showed Bloodhound Vert hanging out with Trap City Rob. For a long time, people thought the rumor that the beef started over a chain was just gossip, but in a July 2024 interview, Trap City Rob confirmed it was true. In the interview, Rob and Taro explained that they were cool with the Bloodhounds until Lil Jeff allegedly stole a chain from one of their homies. Rob said, "He stole the chain, bro. Like, stole my own chain. After that, Trap City didn't even try to talk it out. Instead, they retaliated by killing Lil Jeff's cousin, Zaire Nelson, also known as Z-Money, on March 16, 2023. What they didn't realize was that Nelson wasn't just Jeff's cousin, he was also really close with a lot of Bloodhound members. To the Bloodhounds, Nelson's death felt like a direct attack. For Lil Jeff, it was personal. He started plotting revenge almost immediately. Trap City didn't back down either. Not long after killing Nelson, they went after another one of Jeff's cousins, Q50. Q50 was shot multiple times but somehow survived. After recovering, Q50 and Lil Jeff hopped on Instagram Live, rapping about the shooting and hinting that they were planning a revenge hit. In the video, Q50 rapped, "He shot me in my leg. Next month, I shot his throat." Then Lil Jeff followed up saying, "They shot my cousin, but ain't kill him. For some weeks straight, we was spinning. But the only difference is, when Sut got caught, we killed him both." They were talking about the fatal shooting of 19-year-old Jalel Goens, known as Leal in Trap City circles. Goens was killed while sitting in a rideshare car on June 25, 2023. Reports say it happened just after 9 p.m. in the 1300 block of West Taylor Street. Goens had just gotten into a Lyft, driven by Robert Smith, when a shooter walked up, fired several shots into the back seat, and then ran away. The Lyft driver, Smith, hit the gas immediately and rushed Goens to Rush University Medical Center, but sadly he didn't make it. In an interview with the Sun-Times, Smith said, "I tried to save. I didn't care about traffic lights or speed cameras. I really wanted him to survive. I prayed for him the whole way there. When they pulled him out of the car, I prayed for the surgeons too." The community was still grieving, and the police hadn't even found the shooter yet when Lil Jeff went on Instagram Live and pretty much claimed responsibility. In the live, Jeff said, "Go ask my ops about that micro Draco Sut. Get out that car," while pointing a gun at the camera. As if that wasn't enough, Lil Jeff went even further with the disrespect. Trap City Taro had posted a tribute on Facebook, sharing a photo of himself and Goens with the caption, "I wish I could get it back." Lil Jeff saw the post and reacted by dropping a care emoji, a petty move that rubbed even more salt in the wound. At this point, it was clear. Lil Jeff wasn't just looking for revenge, he was enjoying the pain he was causing Trap City over. The next few weeks, Jeff kept trolling Trap City online, posting videos that hinted he had something to do with Goens' death. Then he dropped the biggest hint yet. In another Instagram Live, Jeff recreated the shooting. In the clip, he can be seen sneaking up to a white car parked at a gas station. When he gets to the back seat, he pauses just like how the real shooting went down, and then acts like he's about to fire. Through the window, Lil Jeff acted like he was confirming his target. Once he was sure, he took a few steps back and acted like he was shooting at the car, using his hands as a fake gun. Even though he posted all these eyebrow-raising videos online, Lil Jeff was never arrested or even questioned by the police about Goens' murder. Feeling like he had gotten away with such a bold act, Lil Jeff and Q50 launched another attack on Trap City nearly 2 months later. This time, they targeted a Trap City member known as Glenn. There's not a lot of information about that shooting, except that Glenn survived, even though he was shot 15 times. Later, Q50 bragged about it, saying he shot Glenn 10 times, while Lil Jeff fired 5 shots. After this, things calmed down between the two gangs for a while. Lil Jeff got caught up in a new beef with the BKN gang toward the end of 2023. At the same time, his music career was finally starting to take off. In February 2024, he dropped his hit song, Ah, and it quickly gained a lot of attention. But despite his rising fame, Lil Jeff was still focused on getting back at Trap City Glenn. On June 8, 2024, Lil Jeff and 3 of his Bloodhound homies rolled into Trap City territory looking for Glenn. Reports say that Glenn was the guy in yellow shorts that Lil Jeff was chasing right before he was killed. While a lot of people saw Lil Jeff's death as a tragic end for a young rapper who was about to blow up, Q50 didn't see it that way. He went on his Instagram story and wrote, "You went how you wanted to, on my dead GMA. Love you, gangsta." His post showed not just how deep the bond was between him and Lil Jeff, but also how they had fully accepted a life of violence and death, from brothers to killers. Before Lil Jeff was killed, he and Q50 were like 2 peas in a pod. They were more than just cousins. They were best friends who had each other's backs, no matter what. Their bond was built early, long before either of them became known online. An old photo posted on Reddit showed Q50 and Lil Jeff hanging out somewhere in the city. There was a third person with them, but the cousins stuck close together, throwing up gang signs. Another thing that gave away how close they were, their matching kicks. Same brand, different colors. When fans saw the picture, they couldn't believe how innocent the 2 boys looked. One person commented, "Regular college kid arc," before it went left. Another said, "They look like Disney Channel kids." A third fan added, Wild how fast things change. And they were right. Things changed fast. The close bond between the two eventually turned into something deadly. What went wrong? Both Q50 and Lil Jeff didn't just invest in their relationship. They also threw themselves fully into the street life. For them, the way to earn respect was by racking up bodies and bragging about it. According to Lil Jeff, he killed about 11 people. He didn't just rap about it, he showed it too. Photos of his neck tattoos revealed 11 teardrops, each one supposedly representing a body he had caught. This wasn't just street gossip. The tattoos were proof of his claims. In October 2024, British YouTuber Trap Lore Ross spoke about Lil Jeff and Q50's violent lifestyle in an interview with DJ Vlad. He talked about how both rappers repeatedly bragged about their crimes in their music. Ross even shared his shock that they were never arrested for the things they admitted to in their songs.
They're talking so openly about the stuff that happened, it's actually insane. And so much of it's getting caught on camera. It's wild. And then the even more crazy thing about Jeff and Q50 is that, allegedly they were doing hits for money in another city.
The YouTuber further added that these two were not just killing for fun, they were also collecting money to pull off these hits. Ross also hinted that it wasn't mere lyrics, as some would want to believe, as in fact these self-snitching songs had given fans enough to talk about concerning a Milwaukee triple homicide, according to Ross.
There's been a new, what's it called? A new theory on Reddit that there's basically was a triple homicide in Milwaukee that people are saying, yo, this is the one where Jeff and Q50, they were paid to kill one guy and they ended up killing 3 guys.
Emphasized that these brothers did indeed get paid for the first time following this killing, the YouTuber added.
And there's a bunch of lyrics where Jeff and Q50 have these little bars where they're talking about my first hit was a 2 for 1, or I'm in Milwaukee doing hits for the change, my first hit wasn't a regular hit.
Trap Lore Ross didn't hold back. He pointed out that Lil Jeff and Q50 were roaming the streets without facing any real consequences. Ross even added that if Lil Jeff hadn't died early, he would have eventually ended up behind bars. The Milwaukee triple homicide. On March 27, 2022, a brutal triple homicide happened in Milwaukee. The victims were 26-year-old Anthony Thompson, 39-year-old Terrace McKinn, and 52-year-old Clarence Harris, all shot and killed execution style. They were found dead inside an apartment near 54th and Mill Road. According to police, the murders happened in the early hours of the morning, and 2 of the victims were actually related. Detective Tim Keller said, "There was a mother who lost 2 sons that day. Losing one family member to violence is hard enough, but losing 2 is heartbreaking." Because the killings happened so early in the morning, there were few witnesses and barely any details for police to work with. When they arrived at the scene, they had no suspects in sight. Police quickly turned to the public for help. Keller said, "There's no excuse for what happened, none at all. People who do things like this are extremely dangerous, that's why we need the public's help." Even today, the case remains unsolved, but many believe the police might have been looking in the wrong places all along. That's because Lil Jeff and Q50 didn't exactly hide their knowledge about the crime. In fact, they dropped hints in their songs and social media posts, almost bragging about it. This self-snitching attitude made Trap Lore Ross believe that they were responsible. Ross pointed out that Q50 once bragged on Facebook about catching another body. Meanwhile, before Lil Jeff died, he went live on Instagram saying he had just caught his 11th body. Because of this, Lil Jeff and Q50 became known on the streets as famous killers. Lil Jeff's murder claims. Lil Jeff's claim of having 11 bodies came shortly after the double homicide of 2 Innovations high school students. He even rapped about the killings in a song released on February 16, 2024, describing the last sounds one of the victims made before dying. In the track, Lil Jeff rapped, "You would think I'm lying if I told you what I did, no cap. When I speak, it's only facts." He was screaming "ah" when he got hit. Real tough online. Now he's on the floor looking like he just walked into Lids for 2 hats. Really stepping on blood, let's talk about getting back. What happened to Monty and Lil Rob? On January 26, 2024, 2 teens, 17-year-old Montario Williams, aka Monty, and 16-year-old Robert Boston, aka Lil Rob, were shot and killed outside their Chicago high school. Masked gunmen had been waiting nearby, tipped off by a student spy named Jay. When Monty and Lil Rob stepped out for lunch around 12:30 p.m., the gunman ambushed them, spraying bullets. Surveillance footage showed 2 cars pulling up, with at least 3 masked shooters opening fire before speeding off. Both teens were hit in the chest. Despite being rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, they didn't survive. A heartbreaking clip showed one of them already dead on the ground, while the other was still trying to cry out in pain, screaming, "Ah!" After the murders, Lil Jeff, who had beef with the 2 victims, took the opportunity to mock them by using their final cries in his music. Despite all the hints Lil Jeff and Q50 dropped, police didn't immediately connect them to the shootings. They needed hard evidence, not just social media posts or lyrics. It ended up taking almost a year for the investigation to move forward. Sources later confirmed that Lil Jeff had been on police radar thanks to an anonymous tipster. The informant pointed out a video uploaded after the shootings showing Lil Jeff wearing a ski mask riding around with 2 other people. The arrests. In January 2025, police finally made arrests. Tommy Coleman, aka T-Slick, was arrested on January 29, 2025, at the 5700 block of North Mason Avenue. He was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, attempted murder, aggravated, discharge of a firearm from a vehicle, and possession of a weapon by a felon. About a week later, James Allison, aka Jay, the student who helped set up the attack, was arrested in Crown Point, Indiana. He was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted murder, aggravated discharge of a firearm, and unlawful possession of a weapon. The 3rd suspect is said to have died, and sources believe it was none other than Lil Jeff himself, who died on the same day. If you enjoyed this clip and want to stay connected for the latest updates, make sure to click the card showing on your screen right now.